Alright, we are on the play for match 2 of this league. We have 2 baubles, but that's not going to persuade me to keep this hand. This hand looks pretty bad. This hand, not great either, but I do think I keep it. We have a scry. We'd have a scry if we could go to 5 anyways. I do think this is better than our average 5 just because we can function for sure. And these 2 cards are pretty good, especially on the play. Delver of Secrets, bam. Do we actually want Delver on 2? Because we have Mana Leak in hand. I guess it depends what we're up against. I don't hate putting it on top. If we're up against an aggro deck, we might just want to shuffle that Delver of Secrets away. Then again, we're going to have to close the game eventually. That's a tough one. I don't know if we lead on Breeding Pool tapped or Flooded Strand. The Misties we're going to save. They're just a strictly better fetch land for us. If we do need to conserve our life total, we could always fetch a Steam Vents tapped here and get basics with these Misties. But I do want to draw that Delver of Secrets, and I don't think there's too much that's going to make me change my mind. So I think I'd rather just lead the Breeding Pool tapped. It's going to save us a non-zero amount of life anyways. The opponent starting on a Bloodstained Mire, plenty of decks. Basic Swamp, far fewer, looks like a Thoughtseize. It's an Inquisition. To be fair, this hand is pretty bad against Inquisition of Kozilek. But on the flip side, in this spot we're just going to slam Delver. Holding up Mana Leak, probably not going to be great, so I just want to get this guy onto the battlefield. We're also pretty unlikely, I'd say, given the opponent's... Giving, say, an average hand out of the average opponent, I don't think we're in a good spot to win. Looks like Grixis Death Shadow. Could be one of the other Shadow variants. This hand's not good against discard, but mulling to 5 is also quite bad against discard. So I want to say that that doesn't matter to me. The opponent fetching and shocking here quite aggressively. Here's a Thoughtseize. Well, goodbye Mana Leak. Oh, they don't have the Shadow. Might just be a fatal push into Shadow. Don't think they get that aggressive if they can't deal with Delver. I'd love to reveal that. Do we actually Mana Leak a removal spell? They have to use it now. Any removal they have to use now. Otherwise, they went low enough that that Delver's pretty scary. At least we have Mana Leak up. That's good. Green means we're definitely... Okay. So they're going to take Mana Leak and go to 10, or we counter that and stop them from going to 10. How scared am I of them going to 10? It's good and bad at the same time. Think I'm going to stop them. Get a basic forest here. This Misty's going to end up grabbing a Steam Vents. Did we mill the forest? Oh. Wrong one. That's fine. We'll just do that now. They know the contents of our hand anyways, so cracking the wrong land there of no consequence. Grab the forest, and I think we want to keep their life total a little bit above board. Otherwise, well, we might just be in a bad spot. Looks like Jund Death's Shadow. Here's a Tarmogoyf. Not that we could have stopped that with the Mana Leak. Our opponent sequenced things quite nicely. I'm going to grab a basic island. I kind of want to shock just to have double red, but I think I'd rather conserve a little bit of life. I like having double red against shadow decks for Bolt, Snap, Bolt. Do I want Bolt on top? Denial is definitely bad. Bolt transforms Delver. Let's do it. Who knows? We might get there. I mean, we're certainly at a disadvantage, but we could very well pull a win out of this. The opponent's got a 5-turn clock with that 4/5 Goyf, which is something I like. Jund Death Shadow, very good at growing their Tarmogoyfs, just like we are. They run Tarfire, they run Bauble. So I would not be surprised if they actually get this down to a 4-turn clock. 4 turns also okay. Liliana basically means we are screwed. Delver gonna go down. Lightning Bolt's gonna have to be used against Liliana. What are the chances? So if we use Bolt on Liliana, Goyf kills us in 3 turns. Whereas if we don't use Bolt on Liliana, Liliana just eats away any board we could possibly have. Which means we need to win with Bolt. They go to 7. We Bolt them again off another top deck. We top deck the second Snapcaster Mage and Snap Bolt them, and then they're at 1. That seems even more unlikely than us being able to deal with Liliana. Sorry, then drawing that string of bolts seems less likely than us somehow dealing with this Tarmogoyf. So I think we're just going to take out the Liliana. Yeah, 2 Goyfs. I mean, what are you going to do? Here's the 3/3 Shadow that we kept small, so we have that going for us. Delver off the top. They already know about Delver. I don't think it matters. We're going to play it anyways. Maybe the opponent misclicks, skips through their attack step. Delver transforms. Delver knocks them down to 7. We draw Lightning Bolt, which transform Delver. We put them to 4. They skip their attack step again. And we somehow top deck another burn spell. We're going to sideboard. We lost game 1. Death Shadow Jund, not a matchup I am prepared for. Not very common. I do know the gist of how I'm boarding against them. Oh, hey, look! Engineered Explosives making its debut here. I cut Melody. Entrancing Melody does not seem that great right now. I wanted it to be good. I really did. I think EE is definitely more conservative because I know for a fact that this card is good, and it's definitely more versatile. I think it's probably much better. I knew EE was good, but I was hoping that Melody would be good too, because I really wanted to steal people's Goyfs and Shadows. As is, it looks like we're going to have to settle for blowing them up. Basic Mountain might come in, Huntmasters for sure, Revelry not necessary. This is the matchup that had me put Bedlam Reveler out of my sideboard when Jund first started to go down in shares, and then DSJ went up because, well, you guys saw that game. They are looking to take out all the cards in our hand, but they're also looking to finish the game quite quickly thereafter. Reveler does not seem great. Flash Freeze counters Tarmogoyf while also hitting things like Kolagon's Command. We're going to pull up a list. Blood Moon's fantastic. Not going to not board it in. Ceremonious Rejection, Pyroclasm, Artifact Hate, all things we don't want against them. Just 7 cards. We might be keeping Shoal. This is a matchup where I feel pretty comfortable boarding out a couple of Mandrills. Dismember also not that great, but it could be good enough. Goyfs not always. They commonly get too large. We're going to want some bolt effects, but not all of them. Spell Snare, good. I like it. Let's cut. I don't really want to cut all the Thought Scours. Maybe just 2 Scours, 1 Shoal. Maybe even just 1 Scour, 1 Shoal, 1 Leak. We are bringing in Flash Freeze. I kind of like that. For these 7. Shoal doesn't look great with those changes. 22 minus 6. 16 1 CMC blue spells. That's not bad. We'd go to 15 probably. I'm just going to quickly see if we can pull up a DSJ list before we submit. You know, even if we do, we're not going to have time to make changes, so we'll take a look at it afterwards. We'll be on the play. That's a keep. It's not the best of keeps, but it is a keep. I like slamming turn 1 Delver in this matchup a lot, because sometimes the opponent just doesn't have their removal in time. They draw the wrong half of their deck. We all have been there. Sometimes they have to get too aggressive with their life total. Delver gets to punish them for that. And sometimes they do have the removal. They're perfectly comfortable using it to get rid of Delver, and then we slam a Goyf while they don't have a push in hand. And those are my favorite. If we could get another land for Nux, that'd be pretty sweet. I'd love to find a basic island here. The opponent, apparently on the 4-color variant, splashing white, probably for Lingering Souls, maybe for Ranger of Eos. Oh, hey! Nice to see you, Misty Rainforest. That's definitely what we're going to play. I believe we passed the turn here. We might scour ourselves before passing the turn, just in case we draw a Delver. I can see that being a very defensible line. I don't want to scour before using the Misty, just in case we mill our basic islands. That seems like a bad way to go. We milled a Tarmogoyf, which sucks, but I mean, the strategy isn't mill the bad cards. We could denial this. Stops them from taking Knuckleblade. We don't want to slam Knuckleblade anyways next turn because they could have Liliana of the Veil. We could always just let Inquisition resolve and then Thought Scour. I kind of like denialing this though. If the opponent has another discard effect, they basically just took our Stubborn Denial with the Inquisition, so no harm, no foul. Here's a second Inquisition. We basically gave up Thought Scour on this turn so that we could force them to take the Denial, which I think I'm okay with. Especially if it turns out the opponent's missing land drops, and that was their turn. That'd be fantastic. Untap, slam Knuckleblade while they only have one land in play. They wouldn't be able to slam Liliana after that. That would just be the bee's knees. I hate that expression. Do bees even have knees? This is the kind of thing I would go to Chrome to Google right now, but MTGO requires the entire monitor to be displayed, and I'm assuming there's a percentage of you who don't want to watch me Google the bee's knees. I like playing EE on 2. I also don't like playing EE on 2. If we play EE now, we get around discard effects, but it's weak to Kolaghan's command. On the flip side, in addition to being weak to Kolaghan's command, we won't be able to choose which fatties we hit with it. It'll either be Goyf or Shadow, so if they play the other one, we could get punished. I don't hate Scour here. Mishra's Bauble I actively like. We milled a Blood Moon. Well, that cat is out of the bag. I kind of want to bauble them. Do I want to bauble us to see if we're going to draw a counterspell? We're drawing a Mishra's Bauble, yeah. Usually it says effect there, but we are in fact drawing a Mishra's Bauble. We play the Forest. EE or no? I'm going to say no. I don't really want to play it. I want to be able to get rid of the threats I choose. They've already shown us 2 discard spells. Not super likely they have a third. If they do, they take Nux or EE, so it's still not the end of the world. We're going to draw a Mishra's Bauble. That Bauble will be sacked soon enough, hopefully not drawing us the third Mishra's Bauble. Delayed draw into delayed draw really makes you feel the slight downside of Bauble in that you don't get your card right away. So it's like, if this Bauble was a Gitaxian Probe, I would have already had this, so I would have had access to it on the previous turn, and I could have gotten another card deep. Meanwhile, this is another card that isn't Gitaxian Probe, so we're going to have to wait 2 turns to see our card, instead of seeing the card immediately. That I don't like so much. It's possible we shouldn't have cracked the Bauble in case they do have more hand disruption. Just because we could have drawn something extremely important and then they discard it out of our hand. Here's a lightning bolt. I think we're just going to play EE on 2 and hope they don't have Kolaghan's command. Pay X. X is currently 2, yes. I'm okay with tapping EE like this when both lands are basics. I would absolutely not do that with shocks because I would be way too worried. Since we don't have the ability to hold up something like a mana leak, which is what the kind of thing I was hoping we would draw when I cracked the first bauble on our turn, so we could draw it on their upkeep and then have mana leak up for something like this Tarmogoyf. This bauble is going to be cracked on their turn to play around the discard. Kolaghan's command would be extremely bad for us. They very well may have it. They also may not. Nothing we can do if they do. If they do, we probably just lose this match. That EE is looking very important. Regardlessly, we're gonna take 6. Kolaghan's command. Oh boy. We're gonna discard Lightning Bolt. Nux cannot outgrow a 6/7 Tarmogoyf, so there is that. We just saw one of the downsides to EE. Oh, we may as well look at their top card. How are we gonna beat this Tarmogoyf? They have a Thoughtseize on top of their deck. How do we beat this Goyf? Not with Misty. Not with Visions. Cracking this Misty is of very little consequence. Get a basic island. Cast Visions. Visions Delver. Okay. Okay. I don't know what we're gonna do. I really don't. We're not racing a 6/7 Tarmogoyf, not with this hand. We put Delver on top. We can only play one of these. To be quite frank, I think we lost this match, but I'm gonna try to find a line that, even if we have to stack both decks, could get us out of this. So, the opponent hits us down to 4 next turn. We untap with 1 threat in play. We're definitely not winning the race. Do we have a way to deal with Tarmogoyf? Vapor Snag. So we need Vapor Snag to bounce the Goyf. Blood Moon would be ideal, because then we could stop it from coming down, but we would have needed to draw Blood Moon and then have Vapor Snag on top. As is, we're not going to have draws to both. Well, if we have enough chump blockers, we can do that. So I think we want Delver on top, followed by Visions. The opponent's going to Thoughtseize away our Delver of Secrets. Savage Knuckleblade I think I'm going to play here. I don't think we block with Nux. I think I'd rather just have it. Here's the Thoughtseize. We actually should have bolted the opponent instead of discard. Oh, but then we don't have Nux at all. The opponent's at 8. That's not much better. We're going to take this. We're going to draw Serum Visions. We're going to draw Delver off of Serum Visions, and then we're going to see what we're doing next turn. What do we got? Tarfire Traverse. Delirium's online. We get a Goyf. We get a Goyf. We don't have double green. We chump for a few turns, and then we get Goyf. Wonder if we should have gotten double green. Could have been a misplay. Probably was a misplay. That puts us at a lower life total, though. I don't really like that. Attacking with Nux here means we're dead to any removal spell. If they have a removal spell, we're probably really close to dead anyways. What could they have if not a removal spell? Potentially discard. If they had Liliana, they're playing it. More lands? They probably just have removal in hand. In which case, I don't want to attack, but if we don't attack, we're so far from closing out this game. We need to be chumping over the course of 2 turns anyways. And if they have removal at all, they're going to take out the Goyf that we eventually traverse for. So you know what? We're just dead to removal. Our line is going to lose to a Fatal Push somewhere down this chain. So I think we may as well attack with Nux. We're slightly more likely to win if the opponent's at 7 by the time we hopefully stabilize than if they're at 11, so I am going to attack. And then again, maybe there's a Death Shadow, but they would play those anyways just because, I mean, we're at 4. Even 2/2s do work on this board. We're going to get in. I think that's right. I also think I should have gotten a second green source at some point during this game, but I was aiming more for the Blood Moon mana. The opponent looks like they're just going to take 4, possibly kill Delver, but you know what? If they have the removal spell, like I said, we're going to lose. Yep, there's Tarfire. So they Tarfire Delver, we block with Nux, we cast Traverse on our turn, and I guess we could Traverse out a Delver to hope to chump. But I mean, that's probably a losing line anyways. GG's, opponent. Hopefully you all enjoy... I did it. I did it again. Botched the sign off. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.